Hi, collective. It's been a while. I have this one download that caught me in the car. I'm gonna pull over and tell you what it is because it's deep and I want to give it time. And I'm actually still kind of pulling it in as we speak. But here's the nugget. What you release is directly tied to what God's building. It's directly tied. So the resistance that you feel, the that feeling, and for some of you it's in your heart, a lot of you it's in what we would call the gut. It's actually between sacral and solar plexus. um and it burns. It doesn't ping, it burns. And it's your signal. It's something that you can trust. It's always been something you could trust, but now that you're, you know, so far on journey that you're getting aligned to messages like this, you you have that question in your head that's like, can I trust this? Yes, you can trust it. That's your signal. And that thing that you're pinging, that you're trying to figure out, it is directly tied to what God is trying to build right now. It's not in the future. So you must release it. If you don't release it, there's no room to build. When we release, we are literally making room for that which we're manifesting. It is literally the same thing. This is just a different way of receiving the information. And for those of you that come from a very religious background, like not necessarily yourself, but your family and what faith you hail from, right? That primordial being that is at the core, or beings, because some of you fractal it, and it's not a single God, it's many gods, and they all roll up to one single primordial Godhead. So it truly doesn't matter which faith it's coming from. The epicenter of it will reach directly to you and ping you. I call it pinging. Will reach you, will signal to you, and it's always happened. It's just that you're getting better at recognizing it. Because you're listening to things that come across you like this, because you're listening and attempting to internalize and really figure it out and see how you can apply it, you're starting to connect the dots. And that is a very good thing. Today, and I'm really reaching back to previous downloads that I've shared, to be honest. Today, you are deciding to use all your senses. What is it? Touch, smell, taste, sight, hearing. Not just those five, but also your clear senses. What are you able to discern? What are you able to intuit? Some people smell things, developing all these senses will make it easier for you to quickly get there, as it is, to quickly figure out what something is, to invite or stay away from. Today is specifically about the alignment of the individuals in your life. It's all about the people, and that makes sense, doesn't it? I mean, think about it. It's not going to be about the animals. The animals know what's up. If anything, we can pay more attention to them, and that also makes it easier. Personally, I follow squirrels. I pay close attention to squirrels. They always know when to play. They always know when to work. They always work before real play. But if you really look at them at the start, they're happy. They play first. A little bit. They play into the work. And then they go hard. And they take breaks. They nourish themselves and they know how to do it. They do not nourish themselves with junk. They nourish themselves with good things that they need to do this work. right? That's just, that's just me. um, but it is effective and it helps a lot. Remember back when I talked about surrender and flow? So you're going to surrender and you're going to trust the will of God, the will of the universe, that what it is that is for you will gravitate to you. And on the flip side of that, we're going to allow ourselves to flow into it with ease. We're not going to resist. And I give this analogy of the stick. You imagine the stick becomes visible to you and it's the small amount of water, not a river, more like a heavy creek, and you can see that there are rocks, you can see that there's sides, you can see that there are things that, can happen to it. But by and large, what does that stick do? It goes the path of least resistance. It follows the current. This current knows where it's going and it's going far. And you can just watch it. It's not fighting the current. A stick doesn't fight the current, Animals know to use the current to get somewhere faster. So yes, I deeply encourage going in and really digging into what does surrender and flow mean. And you can look these things up, right? And just see what is the base definition of it and apply it. And that is that's a great way to do a lot of this work. I've been in surrender and flow since 2017, being real. And then really going with it 2019, going into that period in 2020, because I knew that I was being told lots of things. There was a lot of words being said en masse, directing large populations to do singular activities. And I decided that was the best period to do this kind of work and test my ability to surrender and flow through circumstances that offered extreme amounts of resistance. Yeah. So if God is pinging you and saying, let this go, showing you, let this go, you're pulling and you're trying to hold it. Why? Because it's leaving. All you need to let it go. Just and see what happens. And you are going to go through a lot of human emotions very quickly, actually, if you actually do that. If you grab it back, you restart the clock. But if you just let it go and have all of those feelings and let them cycle through your body, and then you go on to the next, and then you go on to the next, and you let all of those things naturally happen in your body without the resistance, you will indeed come out on the other side. And over there is where you can receive whatever it is that God has for you. Some call it blessings. Some call it, intentions manifested. But at the end of the day, those things that are for you that had no space to grow, you let go of the things that no longer serve, that have had their season. And yes, today in particular is about individuals, human beings. The ones that are queued up for a release, it's time to let that happen. And when you do, you will, depending on how you go about shedding, release, and even as deep as trauma recovery, however it is that you naturally go about that, you will go about that. But you're progressing, you're moving, things are shifting, you're allowing the shift. Sometimes it's going to be a painful shift, but what you can experience, and you can only experience it when you let it go and commit to the process. What you can experience, even at that point, is what is called ease. Not easy, but ease. It's like, I have the weirdest analogies. It's like putting a carrot or a hot dog on like aloe vera and tilting it. it's going to start moving. And because we know how science works, we know how gravity works, friction, lack of friction works, as it continues on its decline, it builds up momentum and it moves faster. Applying that to what we're really talking about here, the longer you commit to stay in the surrender or in the allowing of the things to shift, you'll notice over time they shift more eloquently, faster, and they're always going to shift with purpose. But you will be able to see sooner what's in the clearing. You can see what's around and go, I understand now why this. I understand, and the understanding will only start happening once you start obeying the natural order of things. When things are done, they shift, because you don't create or destroy energy, it shifts. And you are no longer going to be a barricade to your own process, your own flow. You're no longer going to be a barricade and create buttresses where they don't belong, right? So remember, what you are to release is directly tied to what God's building in your life. Make this a beautiful day. And in this release period, be at peace. Open your hand, open your toes, whatever you're holding on with, and allow the shift to happen even for you, right? Because you're worth it. You're never, ever, ever going to end in a place that is not for you and truly better than what you left, because that's how it works naturally. Make it a beautiful day.